Today's video is brought to you by the EckhartsLadder Twitch stream. 15 to 20 minutes after this video goes live, we'll be starting a Republic Commando Let's Play over at twitch.tv/EckhartsLadder. The stream will be going for some time, so even if you're late to this video, consider checking it out. I've also been streaming nearly every night, so feel free to drop a follow even if we're not live when you get there. Anyway, roll the intro. Hey guys, this is EckhartsLadder here with another Star Wars lore video. Before we get started, I do want to apologize for my content being a little on the shorter side lately. I hope to get back in my regularly scheduled, slightly longer content soon. Anyway, today we are talking about hyperspace-powered warfare, specifically the Empire's attempt to weaponize hyperspace for use in combat. As a primer, the use of hyperspace was essential to any faction in the Star Wars universe, but the mechanics of the travel was not really understood. It was clear that hyperdrives somehow transported a ship to another dimension where they were able to exit, having traveled vast distances in short amounts of time. However, how or why this actually happened, and the properties/limits of hyperspace were not well understood. The Empire, of course, attempted to push the boundaries of science with hyperspace. First of all, they furthered interdictor technology, and interdictor cruisers became incredibly important parts of their fleet. Later on, the New Republic and the Bakurans would continue to innovate in this area, creating both smaller interdictor tech while also creating counters like the hyperwave inertial momentum sustainer. This is of course all from Legends, which will be the focus for today's video. The Empire also experimented with ordnance delivered through hyperspace. The best example of this would be the Galaxy Gun, which fired hyperspace capable projectiles which would exit into real space, destroying their target. The main benefits of this were that the superweapon could be kept somewhere safe and that the target had very little time to avoid the munitions. The drawback was that the missiles were very often defective. Still, the Galaxy Gun essentially allowed the Dark Empire to pick apart the forces of the New Republic without having to even leave the core. Other weapons included the Pulse Mass Generator, which attempted to harness the power and energy of hyperspace itself. But today we're focusing on something a little bit different. The Empire's most ambitious plan to use hyperspace as a weapon, one which would have fundamentally changed the nature of warfare, and perhaps made the Empire an unbeatable foe. Book 3 of the Black Fleet Crisis, Tyrant's Test, explains. So here's something you should know about me. Before I joined Black Sword Command, I was detailed to the research station as a pilot for the experimental hyperphysics team. We were trying to learn how to drop bombs from hyperspace. We never learned how. Saran encroached by Neil Spar's head and his voice grew soft. You see, it turns out that no matter which way you go through the magic door, you need a hyperdrive to open it. Anything that we released in hyperspace just stayed there. We even took a drone and blew it up in hyperspace to see if that might open the door. None of the wreckage ever appeared in real space. So I find this very, very interesting. The Empire was essentially looking to add a dimension to space combat. Their plan was to find a way to launch munitions from hyperspace itself and have them exit hyperspace and then hit a target in real space. This would be incredibly beneficial as it would allow you to strike at the enemy without them ever seeing you or able to strike back. The only real defense would have been the placement of massive interdiction fields everywhere, which for a faction smaller than the Empire is very difficult. Of course, that didn't work out. But one thing I don't understand is why couldn't the Empire use weapons with hyperdrives attached to them? The main issue seems to be piercing the veil between hyperspace and real space, so why not create basically a hyperspace capable Galaxy Gun? I imagine a carrier with a massive hyperdrive, significant fuel reserves just loaded to the teeth with hyperspace capable starfighters and weapons. It would fly past a planet and launch an attack force without ever being noticed. And the fact that this wasn't possible tells me that there must be some other mechanism or concern at play here. Another obvious question is what happened to these objects? We know that you can mine real space with things like interdiction mines, which then go on to affect hyperspace, but can you actually mine hyperspace itself? Could you leave bombs for other ships to run into? Could you fire at another ship? All interesting questions which we really don't have the answer to. But as I alluded to earlier, I think it's clear that there's an entire dimension to warfare within the Star Wars universe that we haven't seen yet. Interestingly, canon has taken a different approach to hyperspace. Rather than a hyperdrive opening holes to and from hyperspace, the hyperdrive seems to keep the vessels there. As we see in Rebels, non-hyperdrive equipped vessels cannot maintain light speed and will revert to real space. In Legends, the hyperdrive is sort of like a door that you need to open either end of a hallway, which which is also why you have some people being stuck in other space or in hyperspace itself. In canon, however, the hyperdrive is more like a balloon that you need to hold on to if you want to travel anywhere. Which makes more sense to you? And which method of hyperspace do you prefer? Let me know your thoughts on that and anything else from this video down in the comments. If you have a question you'd like me to answer at the end of next video as part of my Q&A series, feel free to let me know down below. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, guys. As always, this has been EckhartsLadder. Just one final reminder about that Twitch stream, which should be starting about right now. And hey, as always, may the Force be with you.